Okay, so this is a quick demo. Couple of things. One, I did this yesterday and I thought I was recording my whole process and then I was just going to speed up the film and do a talk over. But when I hit the shortcut, it didn't work. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick demo. It's not going to be a full demo, but you'll have this also attached to your Google Classroom so you can see it. We're doing a shoe contour drawing and we're going to talk about tips and tricks, stuff that you guys can go over and keep in mind while drawing. I'm going to try to remember all the notes that we went over in class. So I might be, jumping back and forth on a few things. So first of all, get a shoe. Place that shoe at arm's length. Uh, One thing is, no one's looking at a shoe this way. You're sitting in a chair looking down at a table that the shoe's sitting on. This would be at your eye height, and that's not possible unless someone is holding it up in front of you at this height. So you guys are going to see, depending on your height, you're going to see something about this angle. Maybe that angle if you're short, but reality, most of you guys are going to see this angle. So when you're drawing, put that shoe out in front of you about an arm's length away, and I might have to make a modification because I'm trying to fit the camera and everything onto the screen or onto the table. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a baseline. The baseline is meant so when I'm doing this, I want the heel of your shoe and the ball of your shoe have to be hitting the same plane. Okay, it's impossible. Your foot does not come at two different angles. So when you're drawing, you need to make sure the plane that you're drawing, both the ball and the heel of your shoe, hit the same plane. The other thing is there's not a single shoe out there that's flat. All shoes curve upwards. So that plane that you draw is going to help you find that angle from the table or from the surface that it's sitting up to how far it's curving up. And that negative space that kind of looks like a ramp or a triangle, you want to be able to draw that negative space. So I'm going to put the shoe out in front of me. I'm going to draw my baseline. I'm going to do it darker than I normally do so you guys can see it on the screen. Okay, so normally I do not draw that dark, but I'm doing so you guys can see it. Now what I want to do is I want to find what's that angle at the front of the shoe that I'm looking at, and I want to get that triangle or that ramp, and I'm going to use my pencil. I'm going to take my hand out and I'm going to measure, and I want to see what that angle looks like because it's going to do a few things. One, it's going to tell me where the ball of my foot hits. Okay, but it's also going to tell me how far out I need to draw. So that looks pretty good. Then I'm going to draw the angle of the shoe going up. I'm going to draw the angle of it going over. And while I'm doing my angles, I'm closing one eye. And closing one eye allows me to take one picture and find that edge. So I'm going to take that picture, I'm going to find that edge. I'm going to continue to draw my angles. And notice the shoe's curves. The shoe is all curves, but again, I'm measuring my pencil. I'm not drawing those curves. The first thing I want to find is I want to find these angles, and then I'll worry about the curves afterwards. The other thing, I'm going to draw a ghost line. A ghost line is a really, really light line. I'm actually going to draw it darker than I normally would just so you guys can see it. And I'm running out of time here. So I'm going to draw this. And I'm just kind of guesstimating. I'm going to look, I'm going to measure, like, what is that relationship to that? So, like, the front of the shoe, front of the shoe is about, from this distance, about 3/4 of that distance. So that's pretty good. find my other angles where this is coming down. Find this angle coming up. And then if I put my pencil down, I know that the top of the shoe is going to be higher than this shoe. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get that right. And again, you're seeing a lot of angles, okay? So I'm going to darken in some of these lines so you can see them in just a minute. And I kind of want to just take this and guesstimate how far this is going down. So I can draw this part here. And bring this down. Bring that down. And this actually goes down a little bit further, so I'm going to bring that down a little bit farther. One thing you want to do, please, make your corrections before you erase. Okay? Make your corrections before you erase. Otherwise, what happens is you just make the same lines over and over again. So there's my heel. Here's the base of my shoe. Also notice I'm farther back on my pencil because I want to be able to have that range of motion. Okay, and now I have my shoe laid out. If you don't remember, we talked about how do you draw a curve. So when we're drawing a curve, you need your angles. So now I have this angle, I have this angle, I need this curve. I have this angle and this angle, I need that curve. I have this angle and that angle, I need that curve. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to close my eye, I have my angles, and I just want to go ahead and play connect the dots. This is also why I want to keep my sketches light, because eventually I'll erase those curves. And I'm going to find this new angle here. So I want to find this width. Once I have that width, I want to see what that curve is like. And then I'm just going to play connect the dots. Okay, so now I have my curves. I can go erase some of these angles that I had drawn in. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing back here. I'm going to leave this ghosted light because I have to be able to draw the shoelaces. I'm going to come over here and start working on my curves in the back. Again, erase those other lines. Sorry, I got a lot of papers up here. Going to find this curve coming in. It curves out and up, and then it's going to curve slightly back in. This is going to come up, and then it angles in. And if I look at it, it's going to be a little lower than what I indicated, which is fine. This is why we do our lines lightly. And I'm going to leave that alone. Now, this is the outside of the shoe. This is this part of the shoe. Do not draw this part. When you go to draw this part right here, once you find this, you're just going to lay your pencil down, look at it ahead of you, and see what's the relationship from here to here and what's that angle. It's always going to be at some kind of an angle like this. Same thing with the dip. These angles should pretty much match. So the dips are going to match, and that top curve is going to match, but one's coming at you, the other one is away from you. So you want to make sure that you have the one that's away from you first, and then you're going to find the one that's coming towards you, so it's going to be a little bit distorted. The other thing you need to keep in mind is when you're doing this and you lay this out, I also had a line going here, and that was a light line to make sure that all these holes were at the same level. That means I couldn't have one lace here, one lace there, one lace here. They all had to be on the same track. When I'm drawing, I'm constantly closing one eye to find the same angle, and these should be evenly spaced apart. Did a pretty good job. I think there's only like maybe one area where it's not evenly spaced apart, but that could just be me. The other thing you want to do is you want to always keep count on what lace you are, because I caught myself sometimes trying to draw this lace up here, or I try drawing this lace over here. So you just want to count. All right, I'm on the third lace, I'm looking at the third lace. I'm on the fourth lace, I'm looking at the fourth lace. I'm on the fifth lace, I'm looking at the fifth lace, and so forth. Once you have this kind of outline laid out and your scales, then you can go in and start adding some of your details. Uh, Very confusing in this part, so you really need to focus. 90% of the work is going to be right here. This is all relatively easy. This is pretty fast. You saw how fast it was to lay it out. Okay, but the time is going to come right here, so you guys want to make sure. So let's go over a recap real fast. Put a baseline down. Make sure you're holding your pencil back here so you guys have a range of motion. Draw your angles in first, add the curves last. Do not be afraid to say, hey, this curve is a little off. I need to redraw that curve and go in and make your corrections. Which goes to the next tip. Make your corrections before you erase your lines. If you don't do that, what happens is you tend to start drawing the same line over and over and over again. So use your line that you feel is incorrect as a guideline of where not to draw, okay? And then make your corrections, then erase. Make a ghost line so you can see what angle you have and where your laces are supposed to interact with. Once you have that, I always indicate this part right here, so I want to find where this angle is. I can come onto my shoe. I can say, okay, there's this other piece here. That piece is coming in like this. So I'll draw this out. I'll draw where this goes. I want to make sure that relationship stays true. So if I look here and here, I know this is actually going to come out a little bit farther and extend down. I want to find that curve. And then once I have this, I know right about here and here, that's where this part of the shoe is going to come up. I can look at my angles to where this is supposed to be at, and then I could accurately draw or guess where this is going to be at. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. We're talking about this part right here. We're looking to see what's the relationship here. What's this relationship from this point to this point? And we want to look at our relationships because those are going to give us our distances and angles. So that's where I'm going to leave this demo off. We're going to stop right here. Again, please take the right approach. It's the easiest approach. It's the most accurate approach. Do not try to reinvent something for the first time. People have been drawing this way for hundreds of years. So please take the right steps and start your drawing. Make sure you don't forget your drawing techniques. Measuring and angling with your pencil by holding your arm out. Closing an eye. Moving back on your pencil for further range of motion. And then rotating your paper to match the natural curve of your wrist. Okay? Do not forget those. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later.